acknowledged in pretty much every international school location around the world. So at the moment, we're going through, or I'm helping with accreditation in Hong Kong, Singapore, UAE, Qatar, Saudi. So these are all countries that have specific requirements for international qualifications or international teaching qualifications, and that is that they need to have, or you need any international teaching qualification needs to have a practical element. So that was the reason that the UWE Bristol went away a year ago or 18 months ago and decided to change their program. So they decided to change their program on 2 points. One was they were going to reduce the cost, which is extremely unusual for any university to do. But the second one was that they wanted to have, rather than having three taught elements or three theory assignments, they wanted to have two assignments and then have one practical element, which is a minimum of 120 hours observed teaching. It does sound a lot and it does sound quite involved, but actually the reality is it's just somebody signing a piece of paper to say that you're doing it. You have to do, I think, 2 observations throughout the year, and these observations are done via a thing called Go React, which you then record on your laptop, which is really, really straightforward. So it's really important to know that whilst IPGCs are in theory all equal, the reality is they're not all equal. And a lot of the IPGCs that you will see, and this includes the University of Derby, this includes other universities as well, they are the PGCE, they are purely theory based. And this, whilst would be okay in China at the moment, we are hearing that there are going to be some changes to the legislation in China, and the Ministry of Education is going to announce those in the next sort of 3 to 6 months. So we know that they're coming in Guangzhou to start with, but we don't know what they are. So usual Chinese whispers, but we do know that whatever does come into place, it's like what normally happens is it will likely follow what happens in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong do not like an IPGC without a practical element anymore. So if you are planning to go to any of those countries that I've already mentioned, plus Hong Kong, plus you just want to have a professional qualification with a teaching element, then I think the UWE IPGC is the right one for you. So another part really is, okay, just letting in Mia. Point of the program is to enhance your teaching skills. Okay, there isn't that much contact time with the university with regard to your teaching skills. So what I mean by that is that they're not going to get into, they're not going to do hundreds of observations and tell you how to improve yourself as a teacher. But what they will do is that they will give you some opportunity to reflect on what you're doing in the classroom, and also to sort of discover how you can do that better based on current or the most current research. So you do need to have a mentor in school. The mentor doesn't need to have any particular skills apart from they need to have some experience. They can also have graduated, or they have a teaching license from many countries. So if you are in China, which I know a lot of you are, you can have a local teacher doing this without any problems at all. So a local teacher that's come from Tongji or something like that, they will be eligible as long as they can speak and communicate in English to be your mentor if that's an issue. Okay, so it is important you get a mentor, but there are plenty of opportunities for people to become mentors, and you don't have to have QTS and you don't have to be from the UK. I know a lot of universities put all of these barriers in place for people doing their programs, but UWE Bristol is very, very open and understanding that good teachers and good mentors come from all different parts of the world. The other part obviously is career advancement. So you probably wouldn't be here listening to me on a Wednesday evening unless you really, really wanted to become a better teacher or a better practitioner, but also you also want to probably move to another school. either next year or in the future, and this is a way of doing it. So the IPGC is what I normally call a stepping stone qualification. Okay, it's not really the final destination, but it's one of those stepping stones that you will take in order to potentially get to the final destination. The final destination might be going on to do IQTS. Your final destination might be going on to do QTS. It might be the final destination might be going on to do a master's or a doctorate in education. There's lots of different destinations that you want to go to, but certainly the IPGC is a really good sort of foundation to then move on in the future. The other good thing about obviously the IPGC, it does count for 60 credits, and the benefit of it counting for 60 credits is you don't necessarily have to use them at UWE. You can use those 60 credits in any different university in the future, as long as you use them within probably five years is normally the time limit to use those credits. So the credits, 60 credits, if you're not particularly familiar with that, 60 credits is 1/3 of a master's, which is 180 credits. And what you'll find is that you're able to do you're able to pretty much do any course that you wish, as long as it's related to education. And normally the IPGC will count for that first year that you'll be doing the masters. So rather than taking 3 years or maybe 2.5 years to do the master's program, so it could be a master's in education, leadership, could be in lots of different things. So rather than it taking you 2 or 3 or 2.5 or 3 years, it will take you either 18 months or 2 years. And obviously then you save quite a bit of money. So what I always say to people is, if you're thinking of doing a master's, you might as well do an IPGC to begin with. And the reason I say that is, A, it won't cost you any more money or very little extra money. And also it means that you get 2 qualifications for the price of 1. So the additional cost for doing an IPGC as opposed to a master's is very, very little. It's an extra few £100. So there is no real benefit in doing a master's straight. You're better off doing the IPGC first, and then if after you finish the IPGC you decide to then move on, then you can. And if you want to have a break, you can also do that as well. So it does leave yourself a little bit of breathing space. Does leave you a bit of does leave you quite a bit of scope to do other things as well. So you don't necessarily have to just embark on one particular master's. You can think about which one you want to do and maybe consider your options after the IPGC is finished. Further benefits, obviously personal growth. Completion of the course can boost your confidence and self-awareness. Undertaking any course can be challenging, but it fosters personal growth and improvement. So when you are obviously, if you are planning to do this course, you probably are also planning to do you're also planning to apply for different jobs in the future, or either now or maybe next year. And one of the things it will do is it will probably get you onto a maybe pile, whereas you were on the no pile previously. So by doing this course, it will show to anybody that's looking at your particular application, it shows that you are willing to grow, you are willing to spend money, you are willing to spend time and effort to do the course. So that shows that you have resilience. It shows that you're able to, you're up for the challenge. And obviously these things are really important, not just in getting the qualification, but they're also really important for anybody that's working in international schools. And everyone knows that working in international schools anywhere in the world, especially in Asia, has its ups and downs. And one of the things that you really need to have is grit. And this is one of the things that if you are doing the IPGC off your own back, then it shows to the people that are looking at your application for any particular job that you are, forward thinking and a lifelong learner. Another really important part is, because we do have a lot of people on on these courses. So in the last cohort in September, we had around about 150 teachers doing this particular program. So out of those 150 teachers, probably I'd say 100 of those will probably be in China. So if you think about it, that's probably 60, maybe 80 schools all around China. If you are planning to apply for jobs, if you're considering moving to a particular school or a particular city or a particular part of a city, or if you are just wanting to know about a particular person that you're going to be working with, a boss or a head teacher or a principal, I'm pretty confident if you ask in any of the groups that we're in, if you ask a question, do you know such and such at such and such a school? I'm pretty confident that there won't be more than 1 or 2 degrees of separation between the people you're asking and the people that actually you're asking about. So it is a very small, close-knit community, and because we have good numbers and an expanding network all the time. If you do want to know about if you do want to know about anyone in particular, then ask in the group. Also, if you want to be introduced to most schools in China, we work with a lot of schools. I can normally, speak to individual principals or heads of HR or deputy heads and things like that who are the on the hiring in the hiring process and probably on the panel for the interviews and things like that. So if you do want to get a lowdown on them, or if you want to be introduced, please reach out and ask me as well. I'm more than happy to do that. Okay, so these are the courses that are offered. Okay, so the IPGCE 15 to 18, this is probably the one that most of us will be doing. I would say the vast majority of people will be doing. So this is the 60 credit program. This is for people they can be working in early years. There's no problem in that at all. But you can also be working in elementary or primary school or high school or secondary. Okay. You can be working in any context. You don't necessarily have to be working in an international school. You can be working in bilingual schools. You can be working in language centers. You can be working in any context. It doesn't really matter. But the most important thing is you are not working in a university. All right, that's the only thing that you can't be doing. You have to be teaching students between 5 and 18. So obviously, if you're teaching tertiary education where students are over 18, that will be an issue. But just reach out to me, and if you're not sure, just ask me. There's no problems at all, and I'm sure we can help. The other program that is slightly less popular than we imagined it was going to be, but I think it is growing in popularity, is the early years IPGCE. This one is for people who are currently working in early years, so 3 to 7 is the normal age range for that. You can obviously be working in that sphere. It is really designed for people that want to stay in that age group. And if you are, if you are a lifelong kindergarten teacher, or you really enjoy working with the younger students, this could be a course for you. But it has, the main limitation is focused directly on the early years program. So if you are currently in early years, but you think you might want to work in primary or secondary in the future, then probably the early years IPGCE is probably not the right fit for you. And then this final one, again, we are slowly picking this one up as well. This is what we call a level 6 IPGCE, and what we call this is a bridging course. So this is for individuals that maybe have a diploma. They may have got a degree in a particular country that maybe doesn't have the academic rigor of other countries, or the UK specifically. So if for any reason you apply and you don't reach the threshold for a bachelor's degree with the University of West of England, they will offer you the level 6 instead. Okay, and the IPGC level 6 will get you up to that bachelor's level. And then in the future, if you wanted to do the postgraduate, you can do that. So anybody that is unsure, they maybe have a qualification that they have had trouble in the past getting onto these postgraduate courses. The level 6 is a good course because you get an IPGC, and I would be very surprised if individuals were aware that the IPGC level 6 was different to an IPGC level 7. All right, so if you do get the IPGC, I think you will be pleasantly surprised that most hiring individuals within schools would not really know the difference, because it's not a very common qualification. So it might be a good one for certain individuals. Okay, so the IPGC 5 to 18 is best to provide the best education for learners. Who's it for? Teachers working in schools, can be in any context. But the most important thing is you do have a mentor, and you do the 120 hours of direct teaching. So 120 hours of direct teaching is extremely easy. So when you do the course and it's over a year period, I really find it hard to believe anybody that wouldn't be able to do 120 hours over a year-long period. So even if you are working part-time, even if you are working as I know we do get a lot of teachers that are trainee teachers. We do get a lot of people that are coming in who are doing supply teaching. Again, not a problem. You can do any of those. Just make sure you get the 120 hours in, and make sure you've got a mentor or somebody that can sign off on that at the end of the year. So you need to have a degree or equivalent in a relevant subject and access to a school environment. So it can be any subject. It doesn't have to be specific to your what you're teaching. So this is not the PGCE that you would read about in the UK. You don't have to have a subject that is related to the course you are going to be teaching. You just need to be working in a school, and you can be working in a kindergarten, you can be working in any context. I would say, though, that you can't be working online, and you can't be working in a tuition center that maybe just works with like one-to-one and stuff like that. It needs to be in a group class environment. So if you are in a tuition center and you are struggling to find classes that are big enough, again, reach out to me and maybe we can work something out. Again, early years, IPGC 3 to 7. This is mainly for individuals that are looking to work with early years as a career. So if you are in early years and you really want to stick with it, this is a really good course for you. It is specific to early years, and actually it is really valuable because having an early years qualification is extremely unusual. The vast majority of teachers in early years do not have an early years qualification. So this is really, if you are really passionate about this particular area of expertise and you want to work with youngsters, then this is a really good qualification to get, because there aren't that many people that have it. So you would actually be really, really competitive if you were looking to apply for teaching jobs, even in really good sort of top tier ones, international schools with a kindergarten in it. Yeah, so UWE are very flexible about the context, so you can be language centres, can be play schools. We understand that a lot of these early years centres, especially in China, where the regulations for early years or non-compulsory education age groups are pretty flexible. So we do understand that a lot of these kindergartens and early years centres will not be your traditional schools. They won't have a license as such. They will be sort of private enterprises. It could be in someone's house, they could be in someone's office block. We do understand that, and the university is very, very flexible to accommodate people in lots of different contexts. And then finally, this level 6 here. So this could be ideal for TAs looking to make the transition. You could be somebody working in a school at the moment, maybe have a diploma, maybe you're training supplies. You could be lots of different things. You might have finished university early, or as I already said, you might have got a qualification that doesn't necessarily reach the threshold to get onto the level 7 course. So this is a really good one um, for anybody that's in that situation. You might not necessarily know that before you actually apply, but once you do apply and they offer you the level 6, it does give you the option to transfer to level 7 if you are able to do that. So it might be a 2-year program rather than one. Yeah, I do apologize. I do realize I've made a mistake here. It is actually 2950 now. I do apologize for that. It was an oversight from my side. Um, but the UWE program does compare very favorably with other IPGCs. The Derby's 3990, and that, funnily enough, was actually the cost of the course this time last year at UWE. They reduced the price of the course and brought it down to 2950. The cost of the course changed last week, so I haven't changed the slide. And then the IPGCE at Sunderland, I know it's a very, very popular program. I know a lot of people know about Sunderland. But basically, it's exactly the same course. There is no significant difference. And if you compare the two course outlines together, they are identical. And the reason that the UWE Bristol one is identical to Sunderland is because they know that Sunderland are compliant in all these other different countries. So they have borrowed quite a lot from the guys at Sunderland, and they've created a course that's comparable and will be compliant in lots of other different countries in the near future. So that's in the pipeline at the moment. It's not happened quite yet, but it will be happening in the how many IPGCE levels are there? Leon, do you mean what are the different levels? Level 6, level 7? Or do you mean results? Oh yeah, so it's just level 6 and level 7. What I mean there is that the level 6 is for people that don't necessarily have a equivalent bachelor's degree. And the level 7 is for those that have got who meet threshold for the bachelor's degree and then go on to do the postgraduate level. So there's just two. But the vast majority, 99 times out of 100 people will be doing the level 7 directly. What does the course look like? Professional learning communities, credits can be applied towards a full MA, so the 60 credits can be applied. And then webinars and tutorials tailored to your needs. So you don't necessarily have to be online at the right times, at the right time zones. Everything's recorded. You can replay, or you can watch live. It's entirely up to you. And then all of the forums are all open at certain times. But what I would say is if you are struggling, you're finding it quite difficult, take time. Set a time where you want to meet with your pathway tutor or your tutor in the university, and set aside maybe 10 or 15 minutes where you can actually sit down and speak with them about whatever problems you're having. Do not go into a massive email chain with them. It really doesn't work. They get hundreds and hundreds of emails, and they much prefer somebody just booking in a time, and they've got time slots every week. Just book a time in with them. It will be normally to do with the assignment. Book a time in with them, chat about it, and then and then try and clear up whatever problems you've got. If you still have a problem after 15 minutes, then it's probably quite a big problem. But normally 5 or 10 minutes speaking with someone is a lot better than 20 or 30 emails, because it gets really confusing and quite difficult to sort out any problems. These are the other programs that we do: IQTS, PGCE, IPGCE. They're all for different people. But if you look at it, the IPGCE is very practical, along with the Lees Beckett. And then what you'll find is as you move your way down there, the QTS is kind of, if you've already got quite a bit of experience and you've worked in international schools, that's a really logical entry point from the IPGC. So once you exit the IPGC, we will normally say to people, try and get your QTS. Because once you put once you put the IPGC together with the QTS, what you'll find is that um, any pretty much any school anywhere in the world will be recognizing that as somebody that is fully compliant and is equivalent to somebody who's got a license in the US or Australia or New Zealand or the US or Canada or places like that. So the idea is you've got the theory, which is the IPGC, and then you've got the practical, which is the QTS, and you bring those together. If you've got a little bit less experience, then we would suggest doing the IQTS. Again, very, very similar to the QTS, but it just means that you've got, you don't need to have 2 schools experience, you can just have 1. But essentially you get the IQTS and the QTS together, and it's pretty much the same as doing the QTS, but it's for people that are maybe have got a little less experience and maybe just want a bit more of a back and forth with the university. So there are actually 30 credits available for people that have finished the IQTS as well. So that's another benefit and the bonus of doing that. How will you learn? So what we've found is over the years, we've found that most people can cope with doing the course for 3-4 hours a week. It's a 10-month course, give or take the holidays that you've got. You give them regular feedback on how to improve. You've got to keep up to date with the webinars. Don't fall behind. I know everyone should practice what they preach, but obviously, as a teacher, you should know that if you fall behind and leave it into the last minute, it's never really a recipe for a good thing. Assessment techniques. The course is evaluated entirely by coursework. So what we've said before is that it is a 60 credit course, and there's two assignments that are reflective assignments that are both 30 credits. And then the other compulsory unit, which it doesn't involve any credits, is the 120 hours of directed observations. So even though it is compulsory, you're assessed to the point that you have to do it, but you're not assessed on the quality of the teaching or the quality of observations, and you're not given any credits as such for those observations. So the 30 credits for the unit 1 and 30 credits for the unit 2, and then on top of that, sort of the umbrella that brings it all together is the 120 hours of directed observations in your classroom. But again, they're not recording, they're not watching 120 hours. They'll probably watch maybe 1 or 2 hours, and the rest will just be signed off by your mentor. So all the necessary materials are via the UWE portal. These tools are used to access course materials, pre-selection discussions. So any assignments you are doing, any current research, any papers or books or anything else you want to read, they're all available free through the UWE portal. So you don't need to really worry too much about that. But I do understand there is a lot of study materials that are now available to consume online. Okay, so I know I probably rushed through that a little bit too quickly, but at the same time, I don't think I can really speak for more than half an hour straight. Has anyone got any questions? You can put your audio on if you want. Just turn you can turn your audio on if you want to chat and ask a question. I can't believe that I've answered all the questions that you possibly answered. Anyone got any questions? All right, Mr. Leon, how long does it take to hear back from the admissions once the application is submitted? Yeah, good question. What happens is once you submit the application through us, we will see in the back end the communications between Juliet, who's the lady that runs the course, the head of the IPGC program, and the admissions. So we can see the conversation that's taking place in the background. So normally it should be pretty quick now because actually we're getting pretty close to um, when the course is starting. So normally things do speed up closer you get to the start date, which is mid to late April. What you will be able to do is you will be able to apply until pretty close to when the course starts. We can push on our side to allow you to apply even if it's past the application submission date. The big thing is when you do apply, just try to make sure that you've got all the paperwork in place. The problems with that will, yeah, um, I can share these slides here if you want. I think this is the right one. No, sorry. Yeah, that's the wrong. I just shared the wrong thing. Sorry. Just give me 2. I'm just going to share the file. Okay, so just to be clear, hi Carol. Yeah, if someone already has a master's in teaching, there is no need for an IPGC. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that there would be much needs in getting an IPGC who already got a master's in teaching because the master's in teaching, you will be just repeating a lot of stuff that you've already done. I don't think there's going to be much benefit in you doing that, but I would say that you would really benefit from doing the QTS or the IQTS instead, because if you don't already have that, then that's kind of like the golden ticket because you'll then have the practical and also the theory-based parts to your application. So when you do apply, people will just view you as a fully compliant, a fully qualified teacher, basically. That's all right. Anyone else got any questions? Yeah. Okay. So is the IPC certificate valid indefinitely, or does one? Yes, good question, actually, Mr. Leon. Yeah. So unlike the US, Canada, and other licensing bodies for teaching, we in the UK we don't have licenses for teachers. So any qualification that you do get is not a license, so therefore you don't need to renew it. It's not like a car license where you have to renew it when you get old or elderly or you have a certain period where you have to redo things. For all its sort of problems with that system's always been in place. They've never actually asked people to be compliant in any way apart from when you're actually getting the qualification. So that's also the same for the QTS. That's also the same for the IQTS. Once you have it, once you get the IQTS and the QTS, you'll get a thing called a teacher registration number, and that teacher registration number is yours for life. So in theory, you could be teaching until you're 90 odd. And there are some examples of people in the UK that are still teaching in their 90s, one afternoon a week or something like that. So I don't know whether that fills you with dread or fear or joy. I don't know, but I don't think I'd like to be teaching at 90 anyway. Regarding the start of the course, it will be starting at the end of March or the start of April. No, it'll be starting towards the end, middle to end of April. I will get the exact start date. There is a date, but it's not it's not imminently, so don't worry about that. For those who need the English sufficiency test, when will that happen? Um, so there's a couple of ways that you can do it. So well, first of all, apply. Pim, don't assume that you will definitely need to have the English equivalency test. Apply without. If they then come back to you and say that you need to do it, then you can actually do. There are a couple of options that I would strongly recommend. One is the free UWE English language test. And as I said, it's completely free. The only problem with that test is that it is sometimes a little bit difficult to schedule because a lot of people want to do it. The other one is the Duolingo online English language proficiency test. That is obviously not free, but it's not exorbitant. I think it's about $120, I think, something like that. Which is not cheap, but it's certainly a lot easier and a lot cheaper than IELTS. So just don't. The most important thing is don't waste your time and money doing IELTS. It's a dreadful program. It's a dreadful course. Don't do it. So don't just try to do the UWE English language test. I can give you the contacts and information for that. If you don't have time or they can't schedule it, then do the Duolingo, which you can do pretty much instantly. Is there any specific requirement to start the IPGCE courses for someone with no teaching background? So Ahmed, are you working in a school? No. Okay, yeah. So what we can do is we can certainly help with that. We can help you with finding a placement in a school, depending on where you are. But I've got pretty good contacts in most countries, and we can certainly in our network find you a teaching position in a school. So just if you haven't got my contact, please try to okay, so if you haven't got my contacts, just message me. That's fine. All right. Yeah, Jane. Also, just message me either on WeChat or email or WhatsApp. Any of those ways is fine. How can schools verify the IPGCE certificate's authenticity in the future? Can they be apostilled? Yeah, they can be. But you can get that done in the UK if you wish to. But I don't think most schools won't really care about it, to be honest. If you've got the original certificate, it's got the hologram on it, it's usually enough. But as you said, it might well be that you're applying to a specific country that will need it, and it won't be the school that will need it. It'll be the visa application process that needs it. So there might be some specific countries with particular rules and laws that you need to have it done. So, but you can get it done very, very easily online in the UK. It's extremely cheap. I don't know, 20 quid, 50 quid, something like that. Get it done. Get it done online and get it done over you can get it done over, you can get it done online and get it done overnight or in a couple of days. Okay. Anyone got any other questions? That's my WeChat. I want to change my WeChat, but I've been told it's very difficult to change my WeChat. So Uh, have we got any other questions? So I would say the important part, obviously, is getting the application in. I know it kind of sounds obvious, but the important part is if you're not sure about anything, just ask a question. We're here to help. Um, so next steps, we can help you with the personal statement. Sorry, typo there. And school recommendation letter. Collect together your degree and transcripts. Start the application process. We'll do that for you. You can actually you can do that without any problems at all. We'll just okay. So if you haven't already applied, you can do that through here. So what that will do is just give us all the information that we need for the application. So that's also for the person um, who was asking about the Master of Teaching as well. Yeah, Carol. Yeah, so if you've got a Master of Teaching, my recommendation, if you haven't got QTS already, is to actually do the IQTS. So you can do that through this application portal as well. Yeah. Again, get the application in. We'll start it off with you. If for any reason that you don't have any paperwork or don't have anything to hand, don't be that person that just puts it off and doesn't press send. Put the application in. They will then get back to you and say what you are missing. What they won't do is they won't wait for you and guess that you're going to be applying in the future. All right, just get the application in, even if you don't have all your paperwork together. They will then give you a conditional offer saying you are missing X, Y, and Z. If you then meet those conditions, then you will be people. Then you will be able to join the course. Okay, so if you don't apply, then the only thing you're going to be doing is you're just going to be making sure that you don't actually join the course. All right, so I know it's a little bit counterintuitive, and people think, oh no, they're gonna they're gonna fail us and they're gonna say we can't join. No, no. If you don't have all the paperwork together, they will just reply back to you and say, can you provide X, Y, and Z? They will not disregard your application. So get as much of it as you can together. Start the application process, get it in, and then what we can do is we can follow up with Julia and the guys in the admissions department at UWE Bristol to push and get your offer accepted. So if you can get that in and we can start pushing, we can normally get a turnaround within a week. Okay, as long as Juliet's at the is it at the university and accepting applications as they're coming in. She's very, very quick at getting that information back. And if she says that the such and such application is missing X, Y, and Z, we can then work on that. But normally the big one is the English proficiency, and there's no real way around it. If they say that you have to do it, you have to do it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, if you, for any reason, want to apply, but maybe want to apply in September, again, we always suggest is to apply for April, get into the course in April, and then defer to September. So then you don't have to do all this in the summer holidays, and then you've got a good sort of 6 month lead time to when you're starting the course, which is really, really nice, actually. So if you're not sure when you want to apply, just get yourself onto the course, get yourself in the application process, and get going. So these are all people that have done the IPGCE in the past and the IQTS. These are teachers in different parts in Xi'an, in Chengdu, Shenzhen, and also in Manchester as well. Okay, so again, we've got lots and lots of people, lots of testimonials from our graduates, and we are really here to help. So thank you very much. I don't think there's much more. Is there anyone else got any other questions? What we will be doing is we will be sharing all this information. We will be slicing and dicing the and editing everything from this evening, so you won't have to necessarily listen to me for a whole hour, which you've just done now. But we will also have the full recording, and we'll send that on WeChat. If you want anything else, please email me, please WhatsApp me. I'll put my WhatsApp in here just in case if there's anybody that desperately wants to get in touch with me on WhatsApp. So there's settings. Okay. Anyone else got any other questions whilst I just type this in here? +60 1799 898.